and then she just spat it all up all over the floor. We're all kind of looking. It was a very awkward moment. Fortunately, we had a mop. It all got cleaned up, and my parents never found out.
Until now.
Thank God my mom really doesn't pay attention to what I do on the internet.
But your dad is a subscriber to the show, so.
You do know my dad is dead.
He's a subscriber from heaven.
On that note, how you doing, Zero?
Oh, boy. What a way to start a Friday night. What a way to start an episode of Figure Action. Insulting.
Look, we're like 2 minutes late, and my wife just texted me this.
Oh, boy.
It's a gif of Judge Judy hitting her wrist.
Matt's wife is judging us Judily. Well, everybody, want to welcome you here. It's Friday, our favorite day of the week. And another episode of Figure Action coming at you. We are one of the premier podcasting collector podcasts out there. I'm almost made that error again. And we're excited to be here. We're excited to have you all. If you're tuning in live on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when we're going live. And on top of that, it'll also tell you when we have bonus content. As you know, we're starting to do the B-side episodes. As soon as everybody sees Venom, I believe we'll have a B-side episode there. And not only that, but if you want to catch up on any of our old episodes, you can do that on YouTube. We're also available on Podbean, on iTunes, and Google Play for previous audio episodes. If you want to download us and take us on the go, whatever you want, it is up to you. We've got an exciting guest with us tonight. We've got Nick, a.k.a. Cassy Sark, and he's designed some of your favorite toys in the third-party world. We'll get to that. First, we're going to go through, find out how everybody's doing and what they got this week. I'm going to start with True Star Screamer. Dave, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic on this Friday. I mean, dude, it's time for the Figure Action podcast. What more do you need?
The winning lottery numbers. That's the joke I always get from every person I deal with.
Well, I got two very important things. I'm going to combine them really quick. One for my haul. I was actually able to win from another podcast a set of the Marauder weapons. These guys are an independent company that do third-party accessories. Usually they've been doing the 3.75, and this is supposed to be for their 6-inch scale. So I've got a couple of rifles. I got some pistols. I will say, from what I've handled, it's 3D printed. It's well painted. I'm really happy with that. So expect some fun photography on the Instagram. And just while I got the camera on me, I'm going to go ahead and give our announcement that Sharp .75 is our winner for the Deadpool contest.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I will try to hit you up on Instagram. If not, go ahead and hit me a DM after the show. Please tell me you're watching. Let us know in the chat. But we'll reach out to you, and we'll get your address. And you, sir, have won this. You can even let me know if you want an autograph, but that would probably lower the value.
I mean, for me, I'd just be excited to take out that Deadpool is one of the most fun Marvel Legends.
Absolutely.
That I've ever messed with. Well, very cool. Very cool. Parts Former, Matt, how you doing this week?
I'm doing very well. Very well. It's not raining here, so that's good. And no hurricane here, so that's even better.
I'll drink to both of that.
So I guess we're doing hauls simultaneously. Is that the deal?
Yeah.
So let me see. I'll go through quick. I got it was a joint effort between T-Man, Zero, and myself. I got the Walgreens exclusive General Veers, General Maximilian Veers. If you didn't know his first name, neither did he when he filmed it. Anybody that saw the quick episode or review I did, I got the Transformers Collector's Card game. I actually got another blind pack here. Was it yesterday or today? I don't know. But I got Thundercracker, so that's really good looking card.
The art's nice.
Good art. The art, that's half the reason why I went and got them, because there's no one around here that'll play with me. Let me see. I got a replacement part finally came today for my Figma Peabody, and it looks like it's actually the right part now. So that's good. I'll try that out. Probably at some point during the show, you'll see me scramble behind me and pick the thing up and try.
It was funny. I was going to ask you about that if they ever
just showed up today. Yep. I got the SH Figure Arts Sakura Kusanagi, and
she will be mine.
She is amazing. Definitely pick her up. She's a little light on accessories, but that's okay. I would have liked a few more hands maybe, but who wouldn't? Am I right? And then I've been messing with this. I've been showing pictures to the guys, but this is a oh shit, I had the name. This is a puzzle that I got from Barnes and Noble, and this thing kicked my ass for 2 days. It's called the Padlock, and it's I think it's got the name on it. Hanayama. It's a Hanayama padlock puzzle. Took the dude, when I finally solved it, I watched the video of it on YouTube, and it took the dude 45 minutes. Took me 2 days, so, you know, that's that. And I'm done. Next.
Very cool. Very cool. You know, real quick, we ought to bring, for anybody that's in the DMV area, we ought to arrange the Transformers card game for the next meetup. Or I should just pick up a deck.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
In fact, I think
the only thing about it is it's a 2-person game.
Yeah, but, you know, you can have some 2-on-2, some tournament style stuff. Dave, real quick, just to let you know, Achilles Pun actually is in our chat. He was our winner. He's sharp 75. So
awesome.
Want to congratulate him yet again. And Joe, not only do you look like you had something to say, you're up next.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought Matt was going to try to get me one of those starter packs.
I thought you said you were going to pick one up when you were at Target, but I can certainly pick one up for you.
Yeah, I need a Target close by. I don't really have one. I have to go all the way down your way, or I've got to go to Christiana.
Well, maybe I will hit up a Target tomorrow morning and pick one up.
Well, there you go.
As far as me, I don't have any new hauls this week. I have been busy, though. I've been tearing down pretty much the 2 Detolfs and the Billies and kind of reorganizing things around, doing some reposing. So I've been busy, but no new hauls.
Right on. Right on. T-Man 978. How you doing? You're like looking off to like the left. There he goes. I think we lost him.
I'm there.
You're here. Okay.
You can still see me, right?
No, we can't see you, but we can hear you.
T is for technical difficulty.
Yes.
So you can't see me?
Now we can see you.
Now we got you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm doing good. Yes, Yellow Devil on Mega Man 11 sucks. It almost drove me insane.
Use Blast Man's power up.
Blast Man.
Yeah, 4 hits.
Is that the bomb thing?
Yeah.
I tried that. That's difficult because you got to time it perfectly.
Ouch.
Because it touches the enemy first and then it blows up.
Yeah, but he opens his eye. That's when you got to do it.
No. Anywho.
T's like, whatever.
Screw you, Zero. Then he's going to go on YouTube and do what I did and figure out, oh, that's how you do it.
Yeah, that was my next move before I saw the game. But with some help from Extra Zero, I got this Rise of the Ninja Turtles Michelangelo right here.
Wow, it must have been a long ass week.
Yes.
I've been
I completely forgot.
Yeah, when I give you a figure on a Monday and it's Friday and it's still mint in box, that's when you know.
Oh, no, I opened it, but I put it back in there. I was going to pretend it's still in the box when I did the review, but everybody knows now. And he also helped me get Marvel Legends Black Widow. She's open too. I put her back in there.
That one I know about.
Yeah, she's really good. I still haven't done a review on either one of those.
You're thinking about it.
I think this was this weekend. It's been a long week for me.
It was this week.
Nathan Simmons sent me Magic right here. Marvel Legends Magic. And she is magical.
I love that sword.
I need to take pictures of her with the effects around her arms.
Yeah.
I was using it like a mystical punch, but having it like it's coming off our hands to the weapons, that's good. And he also sent this reissue Starscream. I have a review for both of those people I just showed.
Yeah. I watched your Starscream review earlier.
Yeah, and you made that corny joke about because I said I didn't like him being plain without his stickers. And the most exciting thing for me was Black Mamba reached out to me to see if I wanted to do a review of one of their products.
Very cool.
Now, they sent me a picture of the oversized movie masterpiece Optimus, but when I opened the box, that wasn't what was in there. But it's this big giant dude.
Did he come
God, it does
in
look good.
in any packaging? Did he come just in like
It was a brown box with a bunch of sticky bubble wrap.
What mode was he packaged in?
A robot.
Mm.
Like all the weapons was in one wrap, and the robot was balled up like his legs was folded up like this. So it's a pre-production sample. So I don't know if they're gonna have like a real box when it actually comes out.
Yeah, very cool.
I may have to crack and get that.
I think I want that. Hopefully they send you
It is awesome.
Prime, because I've seen how they redid the backpack for him, and it's pretty awesome.
The guy who contacted me, this could be spoiler. I don't know if it's going to happen, but he said he's going to try to talk them into giving me the giant Grimlock.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well,
but Optimus or that Grimlock, either one of them would be good to me.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that in person.
Especially if the Grimlock has the same good plastic this has, that will be nuts.
Hint, hint, wink, wink. Bring it to work.
Yeah.
As for me, I'm doing pretty good. I didn't get much this week. I got a new tooth. So
that counts.
Does that count? And it's a temporary new tooth, so I got to go back on November 1st to get my permanent crown. So that'll be fun. Sample. It's hey,
yes.
Matt is on point tonight with the imparty.
10 figure action points.
Yes,
I'm keeping track of those, by the way.
You are? Oh, I think I'm winning.
You can eat with it, right?
I can eat with it. It's just very painful. So, yeah, hopefully by Sunday it'll be back to normal, which I'm going to the Renaissance Festival tomorrow, and I sure hope I can eat a turkey leg without being in severe pain. But fuck it, do it live.
3 pints of mead, you'll be fine.
Yeah. And hopefully I don't have to drive. Anyway, I did forget one thing I got last week, and that was the Flame Toys Furai Attack Mode Optimus model kit. I painted mine, and as you can see, he's very weathered, and I had a lot of fun with this. And this is a fun kit to put together. I'm just going to say it now. If you don't paint it, that's your choice. And I'm not going to say you're doing it wrong, but you are so missing out because
he is actively judging you.
I am. Yeah, and that's the second time he's been right this evening.
2 more than usual.
I know. I had a lot of fun. I haven't painted a kit in a long time. I think the last Gundam I put together, I was a senior in high school, and that was 2003. And yeah, I mean,
I feel old.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, because I get called old all the time, so I'm gonna pull a punch here. But yeah, I had a lot of fun putting this together, painting it. I have a lot of fun posing it. My only gripe with this kit is he doesn't come with a pointing hand, and I really wish that he did, because he just comes with weapon holding hands and closed fists. If he came with the pointing hand, I think he would be a pretty much perfect kit. I'm looking forward to getting that IDW Prime and putting that together, and probably the Starscream as well. And I can just say that for as affordable as these kits are, they're a ton of fun. I can't recommend them enough. And if you're on the fence about it, if you have like if you don't have painting skills, it's easy enough to do. You can spray paint it and just go in and weather it, and I think you'll be you'll have a lot of fun. If you're looking for painting tips, there's a guy on YouTube I highly recommend, and it's actually a surprising recommend. It's Chris's Custom Collectibles, also known as Cosplay Chris. He does a lot where he'll just take like basic Jack specific toys and bring them to life, and he uses stuff, everyday items like shoe polish, basic paints. He's based out of Australia, but awesome dude, goes step by step. And I actually used a lot of his techniques when I was putting this together and weathering it. So yeah,
How does that
definitely
go
check
together?
him out.
Glue or is it snap?
It's snapped together, but there are just 2 pieces that I glued. All the snap connections are super secure and reliable. You know, it holds together better than any Bondi kit that I've put together. So I'll say Flames Toys knocked it out, or Flame Toys knocked it out of the park. You know, I wasn't the biggest fan of the world of their drift. I appreciated what it was, but you know, for as cheap as that kit is and all that you get with it, I can't recommend it enough. If you're looking to get one, my buddy Andrew Griffin, he runs a little shop called Toyco. I believe he still has them. He'll hook you up with a good price, and he'll get it to you in a couple of days. So check him out on the Facebook groups. Next week, I will probably have the most epic haul in show history. So I look forward to bringing you that, because I've got a lot of items that have been taking their time to get to me, including one from a recent flash sale. So that's me. On to our guest, Nick. How are you doing? And did you get anything cool this week?
I'm good. Tired. It's now 20 past 2 in the morning. No, I don't think I've got anything good this week. Last thing it was actually last week. Finally got this guy, Otomo.
Oh, very nice.
Cool.
Yeah, and I haven't bought any toys for so long. But I did pre-order a figure this week. The Fig Arts Evil Boo.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
So I was all excited for that, and then found out it doesn't actually come out until, is it like May next year? So yeah, long wait on that one.
Yes.
Never mind. Yeah.
So you're gonna sticker yours up?
Pardon?
Are you gonna sticker up your Otomo?
I will when I've got time. To be honest, I can't remember where I put the stickers.
Oh no.
At least you know who to contact.
Box, transform, chuck it on the side. That's just how it goes.
Very cool.
Is that Hulk Hogan behind you?
Yes, it is.
That's cool.
Hang on, let's just go. This is the Storm Collectibles one.
Oh, I like this guy more and more.
Yeah, it is a really nice figure. It's I had it pre-ordered when it first came out, and they're just like skyrocketed in price, especially since obviously Hulk Hogan's back in the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Time healed the wounds, apparently. All right, very cool. So we get into an introduction. So you're also known as Cassy Sark.
Yep.
And I do have a question about that one. But a lot of folks may know you from some of the figures you designed. You're known for fan favorite Feral Rex, Transistor, and Simba, which is one of my personal favorite figures.
That's what his name was.
As well as was it Anarchist with MMC as well? The Kaon?
No.
It was Voss.
What was Super?
The sniper rifle.
No. I haven't done any of the DJD.
Okay.
Did you mention this guy? One of my absolute favorites.
Spartan. Yes, I did do Spartan.
You did do Spartan? Oh, okay.
And my other absolute favorite.
Quit rubbing it in. I missed the boat on Turmoil, and anybody that knows me will. rub it in, rub salt. I got on an MMC kick last year, and I basically have everything. Kaon's the only one I don't have. I mean, not Kaon, Turmoil. Commodus. Yeah. To the point where I've written them like, hey, you gotta do a reissue. But yeah, you are the lead designer for the Unrustables, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah. My concept. Yeah. Me and Sid have been developing the line for over 5 years now. And we've got so much more we want to put out, but I found it's just so easy to, as soon as you put out too much information, it freaks people out and they all do a runner. So I drop new designs online occasionally, but we've really got to kind of like limit because essentially the company's only 3 of us. So we really wanted to get two new figures offered this year, but it's only going to be 1 now. So there'll be hopefully we'll have the orders for the Yamazuki going up. Hopefully before the end of the year.
Yeah. We spoke with Spence earlier in the summer, a couple weeks ago, and he one of the things we talked about was like all the designs and all the different concepts, and you guys have a lot of stuff. It looks like potentially planned. What's like the process for deciding on what you're going to do next? Is it kind of an internal thing, or are you guys kind of pulling from the community? Because I know Moss especially is very, well, not Moss per se, but you guys as well, you're very heavily rooted with the community. Are you looking at that demand, or is it an internal process?
A little from column A, a little from column B. Because obviously the Unrustable stuff is all part of like our own universe. We know, Sid writes the stories. I kind of will develop the actual characters and the toy design for it. We've got like, there's so much that is part of the story. But then every time I kind of we've released one toy or we've released visuals, we get feedback on what kind of fans like and dislike, and that will steer us on future designs.
Very cool. I know the comic Kickstarter was very successful, and do you think the comic's going to drive a lot of the demand for what's going to be next?
I hope so. I think it's I think it goes full circle that you need, fans want that kind of backstory for their toys. And also, then the other way around as well. So soon, if you've got the comic, you go, I want a toy of this.
Absolutely.
So, it just goes full circle. It's been such a slog to kind of get things moving. Again, like I say, it's only 3 of us doing this, and to kind of, I've got to like pat ourselves on the back for sort of like just being able to get this far. It's because it's also everything we do for the Unrustables is what we have to do kind of part-time and fit in between all our other jobs. Like Spencer's obviously running Mass Toys, and so he's got to do everything for the Unrustables on top of that. And the same with me. We none of us got actually sort of like, been paid for anything so far. It's all through like labor of love. But we knew that going in. It's more of a case of at some point, hopefully we'll get a return on all our work we're doing, but fingers crossed.
Well, Spence was saying that there's going to be a big push to get the Unrustables put in the comic shops, I believe he said in the UK and in the States, and I thought that was really exciting to hear. I got my the Kickstarter set last year, and it was one of the most exciting figures that I picked up, and it was definitely a labor of love. Everything from that patch to just the feel of the figure and the thought that went into it, down to the box design. I thought that was awesome. So I really hope to go into my comic shops and start seeing the stuff in there. And I do want to say there's kind of a fun irony to it, is that MMC got me into the IDW comics. I was like looking at these toys. I'm like, wow, it's a really cool Rodimus. My first figure was Spartan, and cool. I really wanted an Impactor because I remembered him from the comics when I was a kid. And I was like, it would be cool to have an Impactor. He could fit in maybe with my I could flub him in. And I love that figure so much. I wanted more. And then I started reading the IDW comics. And I was going through and picking stuff up from the MMC catalog. And, it's interesting to get the unrustable figure and then be like, I want to know the fiction behind these guys. A lot of times, when we talk, we're like, one of the states of Transformers right now is there's really a strong fiction that makes you want to go out and get more pieces of, the new collections. And it's kind of interesting that a line sold me on comics, and now a comic is kind of a comic could potentially sell me on more of a line. Yeah, go full circle.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Dave.
I was gonna say, I've been like, when I first came across your work was on one of my groups, it was the Valkyrie concepts, some of your images for that. And then all your spin-offs are just amazing. And I've been I probably hit your Facebook site maybe at least every other week just to see what else is coming up. Whether it's just in concept, like when you came up with the green ninjas that may or may not be based on 4 awesome amphibians. And there's one line which I'm gonna be hitting you up towards the end of this. I'm going to pin you in a corner to find out if it's going to be true. There's going to be some foreshadowing on that one that I will need to know about from your concept work.
Okay.
But it's just brilliant stuff, I just got to say. And just the potential with the bastards. I'm just like, my wallet is ready. I'm throwing it up.
Wallet's ready.
That Megatron, man. We're watching that Megatron. You've been throwing samples up on there. Yeah. I got one eye on that thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was a fourth just doing for fun project, because I kept noticing, people putting up their collections, and the amount of Megatrons. He gets a bit of a bum deal, really, I think. He's, obviously there's hardcore collectors who believe, he's just got to be a gun, that's it. I mean, that's not for me, but it's, if you've got one Megatron, perhaps you want him in other styles, but even down to the, I was quite excited for the new Siege line coming out. The War for Cybertron, is it? And it was like, oh, look, they're doing a tank Megatron. And it's like, he's Kibbly, and he's got a massive backpack, and he's got visible feet in his alt mode. And I can understand they are kind of, they're mass-producing toys, but it just seemed a little phoned in to me. But yes, I just wanted to prove that you could create a good Megatron that wasn't a gun, but still, looked clean and had the essence of the original character.
So have you ever had one of the just for fun projects like this one? Have you ever had someone reach out to you and say, hey, we want to approach you?
Not yet. Not yet. I mean, I would really like, I'd like a few new clients, to be honest, just to mix things up. So if anybody's listening and want to make a Megatron, it's right there.
One of my favorite Megatrons of all time was animated Megatron. He was that VTOL helicopter.
Yes.
And he had the essence, like you were saying, the essence of Megatron was there. And the robot mode, even though he was heavily stylized, everything about it said Megatron. I loved how the arm cannon formed a front cannon for the VTOL. And then, even though Megatron wasn't known for the sword, the original toy, at least in Japan, had the swords. And, it's interesting how you can really shake up a concept, but still get who the core character is.
Yeah. I really liked the Megatron from Transformers Prime. More of like the animation model than the toy. But the actual the robot mode more than because that's the problem there. I think a lot of the time they design a very cool robot mode, and then they're like, right, what's it going to be? Don't know.
Yeah.
So, but it's the fact that he looked muscular.
He was a gladiator.
Yeah, it was something that I wanted to transfer into this design. The fact, obviously, I've made it a lot, a more angular, like original G1 Megatron. But you also have to know what not copy over, because there's a lot of like signature design elements to G1 Megatron that just, I don't know. They're either, it's like, is it necessary? Like one of the parts is he tends to have saddlebags.
Yeah,
like hip panels, and I considered putting those on, and although it is a key part of the original, it's not worth. It just didn't work copying over it, and the same with the back barrel that he usually has.
Yeah.
It's not like he ever uses that as a firing cannon or anything. So, it's just like an exhaust vent, I guess. But I tried working it in, but I just preferred the clean back look,
Yeah.
And again, I've got to pat myself on the back for this one. I don't think I've ever seen a Transformer with a cleaner back.
Oh, it looks good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually there's always you've got to expect like a percentage of kibble on any Transformer. Nothing's completely sealed in and clean. There'd have to be maybe something like MP10's pretty clean.
Yeah.
But
MP10 and Unique Toys, I'm waiting to get it in hand, but that Challenger that they did, where they did the impossible and they took the Age of Extinction design, that's maybe the only time I've ever seen a cleaner back.
Yeah. But it's a very kind of like rare thing.
Yeah. Because most people make that excuse that, you don't pose them from the back, but it's an accomplishment, really. Well, Transistor, which is one that you did, I think he has a very, very clean back. Granted, he's a tape back, but still, that's one that really comes to mind.
Yeah, that was that one was a kind of a fight as well, because I really don't like kind of a lot of panel forming.
Yeah,
and that was just one of those figures that it was a necessity on, so you could, there wasn't any extraneous kibble in either of the modes, and I think it worked out quite well.
Yeah, one of my favorite aspects of that is the way the handle actually functions and how it comes out of the feet. Yeah, it's paneling, but it's just it's so fun when you get it to come together and snap together, and it's a good complement. Like, one of the things I think that makes Transistor really successful is he's such a nice complement to the Masterpiece Soundwave. And it's funny because Masterpiece Soundwave is a figure that kind of has a kibbly back. The fake batteries, still stick out regardless of the mode. And then when you have Transistor in both modes, he's clean. He's clean as a boombox, and he's clean as a robot. And he's very successful there.
The real win for me on that design was creating essentially the original two of those figures, Blaster and Soundwave, the G1 versions. You've got like Blaster that high, and then you've got Soundwave that high, and you've got Blaster that high, because essentially, the mass of Blaster, there's just so much, it's got to go somewhere. And to be able to get them essentially like both the same scale was I was quite happy of how it came out. It's there's a lot of times I'm happy with something I've developed on a figure, and it's weird how it's like nobody else notices. It's another one was the working out how to put a rotational waist joint on Simba, who essentially splits down the middle.
Yes.
And it was like it was one of those 3 a.m. eureka moments. I had to get up, sketch it out quick to work out how, yes, this is going to work. And and it's like I've never heard anybody mention it whatsoever. But it's just one of that. Everybody gets excited over different stuff.
I have to say that's one figure where I know most of the people bought it for, to combine it with Star Saber. I still just keep him in his individual robot mode. Like when I got him, I was like, it's kind of criminal to just armor up Star Saber. Whereas I think he's at his best standing alongside Star Saber, and all the things that figure accomplishes. I mean, he turns into a spaceship, he turns into a lion, a robot, and then he combines with Star Saber. I mean, and he's built better than the official MP, which is crazy on top of it.
What's interesting though that makes me think, you're pointing out that you have a lot of design aspects that you are surprised aren't mentioned, but I'm also thinking too the fan base is sort of a fickle bitch sometimes. That maybe that fact that you have, when you have this thing like you said, the waist rotation built in, like if nothing else, that keeps from the complaining. You know what I mean? Like if no one says anything, like maybe that's for the best that no one is bitching about anything on it. Like that's at least a win.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a positive, right? Just putting that spin on it,
it's I don't know. I mean, I've kind of steered. I mean, I used to be on a couple of the Transformers fan boards and things like that, and a long time ago, I checked out. If anybody says anything of relevance, it will get passed on to me.
That's a good point.
I just find, I mean, this isn't just a criticism on Transformers, like the Transformers fandom. It's all fandoms. There's a high level of toxicity there, and I just haven't got that much time in my life to deal with it.
Yeah, Dave has plan. It's like a friend of mine is a Marvel Legends. He works for Hasbro, and he does Marvel Legends, and it's like kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Any compromise is criticism, and any criticism is around compromise. And but at the end of the day, there are a lot of people that are happy to have things. And I mean, one of our mantras here is just to kind of be positive about it. And what a time to be alive. Or I never would have thought that I'd have representations of characters like this. I never would have thought that I'd have things that are engineered like this, and they're fun. One of the reasons I love the reformatted line is they capture the essence of the IDW characters, and a lot of people use the term chugster piece. They're a little bit more complex than a regular Hasbro figure, but they hide things. Like you're saying, like the new tank Megatron, you can see the feet, but in the reformatted line, all that stuff's taken, into equation, and it's still a simpler transformation, but it accomplishes everything it needs to do. Front of the show, Lucas Brockelman, he asks, how did you get into the industry?
Right. I was okay. So for about 12 years, I was working as a product designer for the tobacco industry. And all I designed was, before we had like the big tobacco bans and things, you'd have those gantries in like shops behind the counter that held all the boxes of cigarettes.
Yeah,
I designed those gantries. Really exciting.
Hey, we had John Bailey, Epic Voice Guy, here. He was a fantastic guest. And, we were like, well, what did you do before Voice Guy? He's like, I worked at Chick-fil-A.
We forget about that far. I worked at McDonald's as well.
Hey.
So I worked there for this company for 12 years, and I mean, I was just doing kit bashing. I was kind of knocking up like my own characters, like in chug style, ones that needed to fill the gaps. And I worked out the computer program I was using was actually able to create the parts I needed rather than butchering, going out to buy a specific figure just to butcher it for the parts I needed. So it was okay, design the figure, get the parts prototyped, get them back, put it together, yeah, done. And I just started making more and more parts until it got to the point it was pretty much a whole figure. And the first one for that was a Galvatron that I did. And my friend and partner in Mayhem Mechanics, Sid, he painted it up and took it to BotCon and got second prize for the custom competition. So, yeah, good for him. Then so that obviously all went online, and then after that I was contacted by I can't remember who was the company who made the Tetrajets the first
Impossible
time.
Toys?
Impossible Toys.
Yes, Impossible Toys. And they wanted me to asked me if I could do a reflector. And I got so far in the project and realized that I wasn't going to get paid for this. Because they were like, oh, yeah, what we want is to do, you to do 10 figures and then we'll sort payment out. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to happen.
So I guess the process varies company to company.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what happened to them, but it was all a bit fly by night. So
has that reflector seen the light of day?
No. I mean, this was really old, and I mean, we're going to probably back about 8 years now, and it wasn't. I do it completely different now. But and I've done a reflector since because I did one for KFC.
Oh, so you're behind that too?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot. I forget which ones I've actually done. Yeah.
Did you do the shark for KFC?
Yes, I did. Captain Shark. That was. I still love that figure because I love Captain Shark.
So you talk about, I know you're checked out from the message board fandom.
Yep.
Now, you don't need to drop any names of who or what, but do you at least pay attention to any of the reviewers at all on any of their feedback? Or are you like, you know what? It's out. If it's buying, that's all I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, to be again, if it's like a worthwhile review, someone will send me a link to it and say, yeah, well, look, watch this because it's worth it. But it's such a long process from me finishing the design to the actual figure coming out to somebody else getting it in hand. It's it's such a long. By the time it's a year since I've already spent the money that I earned on it. So
gotcha.
It's and my skills are continuously developing, continuously looking at new ideas. So even by the time even when the Unrustables finally came out, I mean, I was still yay my toy, but I'm like, yeah, I probably would do that different now. I might have done that different now. So I mean.
Well, we actually have a listener question in the chat. MP Collector wants to know, what would you have done looking back on Transistor? Is there anything you would have done differently now?
Sorry, what was that?
He wants to know, with Transistor, is there anything looking back on that design that you would have done differently now?
Maybe. Actually, I don't know on Transistor because it was one of those projects where it had to be what it had to be.
Mm-hmm.
There was, I mean, there was not much creativity in the way of styling because I knew what style it had to, it had to match Soundwave. Engineering wise, it would probably, there might be a few little items, but I mean, there's still ideas that I developed on Transistor that I still use today. So I mean, that's the thing. It's like every project that moves forward, you pick up a couple of cool transformation ideas, and you carry them on until something new or better you work out comes along, and you carry on from there.
Now, does Keith dictate that you have to use those hands, or at least those style of hands?
I don't do that. Right. So this is the hands I put on any of those figures are the a rework of like the MP10.
Yeah. So like
static thumb, and the figures just you get the pointy finger, and then perhaps some of the other fingers like flail out because and this is just my opinion, those hands are just too small for ball joints.
Yeah.
And it's like I've never been able to transform any of those figures without the fingers flying up across the room, and I've lost them forever. In fact, none of in my collection have got all of their fingers. So that's just one of those things. But I tend to just put a stock hand on, and then they change it at their end. So I mean, it's just one of those things.
I've always wondered about that. I mean, the only time I think he got it right was with the Snapdragon, where they were that thick. But if I had it my way, everything would be like the Fans Toys Phoenix design, where they're pinned and they can splay. And then,
yeah. It's I don't think I've actually seen them. I might have to pick one of those up just to have a look at them, see how they actually work. But it's it's again, it's like I don't. If you don't put ball joints on those fingers, you get just as many fans complaining.
Yeah, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah,
a good friend of mine, Lance from Forgotten Path Games, he's a huge fan of KFC hands, and he loves to see if he can put them on any figures. And I tell him he's a crazy person, but he'll hit me up and he'll say, "Hey, you just get this figure?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, any KFC hands fit on it?" I'm like, "Dude, no, don't do that." But yeah, he's a huge fan of it. So yeah, it's not just Transformers, but I think it's every community. But yeah, there's some very vocal, fickle people out there. We do have another question from Nathan Simmons. This is an interesting one. A friend of mine also designed Gravity Builder, and for him, this was an interesting one. Hopefully, we'll have Jason on the show soon. But the Jin Bao oversized Feral Rex. How do you feel about that? Is it interesting to see a design you worked on ripped off like that? Like, are there any emotions that go on with it?
Well, they say, was it? It's too early for me. My brain's not working.
Imitation is the best form of flattery.
That's the one. That is the one. That's what I'm going for. It's. I mean, as for me, it's a bit callous to say that it's like I don't own the company. I've been paid for my work on it. But I think it affects the like MMC more, and I feel sorry for them in that sense. But there's that element that something I was part of, was popular enough to demand a KO. It's I guess it's a little flattering in a way. There's been other KOs of stuff like that. I mean, I remember the first one was the Sea Spray Mini Warrior was the first thing that I did that was KO'd, and I had like loads of people bombard me with pictures of it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
They never got the colors right though, because he was like being touted as an MP stand-in. Same with the Jin Bao Feral Rex.
I absolutely loved your Raptor Squad. That was one of my favorites of your projects.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I think iGear actually dropped the ball on that one with their distribution. It was like everybody I spoke to after it came out struggled to get hold of them, and it's right. I've still got all mine. I think they came out really really well, and it does capture that kind of the essence of the characters and with a modern update.
So just because you're mentioning with the iGear dropping Bob, do you think there was any of your projects that you think is like unsung? I guess you could say it's like this was done awesome. Like you were mentioning the waist swivel on Simba. It's like I kind of wish people notice this one a little more. I look at Feral Rex. I love Feral Rex, but is there anything like, dude, this is actually a hidden gem if you keep your eye on it? Mind you, as I'm looking at a ton of your stuff on my display wall right next to me, please be aware.
Yeah, I'm looking at my. I'm just trying to remember what I've done. It's. I think all designs kind of have a shelf life anyway. There's always going to be something bigger and better coming on down the line. But I mean, I think more kind of at the time of release, I'm thinking this really, some of these things should be more popular. But no, I think, I mean, it was really just the waist swivel on Simba. Yeah. That was quite a clever element, and just nobody picked up on it. It was crazy.
No,
but I mean, with it, there's been such a demand for accuracy to either comic or G1.
Yeah,
that it's really kind of it can kind of suck the passion out of the design process a little, because there's not as much creative element to it. I mean, for example, Spartan was so much fun to do because. So I did a impactor for iGear, and obviously iGear collapsed on itself. And so when Mastermind Creations wanted me to do an impactor, I had to make sure it was completely different from what I'd previously done. So it couldn't really look like the Nick Roche design. So I ran with it, and that's why I based the alt mode off Metal Slug.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people didn't get it. They were just like, what's this kiddie tank? And I'm like, look, you don't get it. It's obviously not for you. But
I remember the first time PR said that, and that was one of the things that sold me on. I'm like, yeah, I want an impactor in my collection, and I'm a big fan of SNK, and then to see that, and he's like, yeah, it does look like a Metal Slug tank,
Yeah, the tank was my inspiration, and just trying to work the two designs to make them fit. I mean, it was a really fun project. Really, that one was really good. Whereas you've got, I mean, the Masterpiece G1 accurate figures they can be soul destroying at times, because I mean, you're trying to create figures based on quite bad, crudely drawn artwork from 30 years ago. And it's, I mean, what really put it home for me was the, I think it's, I can't, no, there's a Menasor coming out in Masterpiece form, but I can't remember who's doing it.
There's
DX9.
Yeah, DX9.
Yeah, it's not DX9, but I mean, even both of those. There was one that it was one of the cars, and it was online the other day, and it was such. I just looked at it, I mean, because it was so clean, and the alt mode just looked fantastic. And obviously, it's still going to be a combiner limb as well. So, I mean, what you got to think is combiner limbs, they're essentially all triple changes.
Yes.
And to actually work that much engineering into one figure and it being so clean, and just the sheer level of work, I thought must have went into that. But then you look at the robot mode is so G1 that it's sort of like, why would you? I mean, because like he's like groin area is just like he looks like SpongeBob SquarePants. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not putting down people who are into G1. That's fine. That's your thing. But just with a little more styling, just moving away from it, keeping the essence of the character, but just styling it a little more, it could be so much better, right? What we should be trying to achieve more rather than, being locked in nostalgia.
Yeah, kind of like looking at like what Zeta and Generation Toy are doing right now with their combiners. Where, I've got the Zeta Bruticus on the way, and at first I was a little bit apprehensive, but I got to tell you that modern design for the helicopter ended up growing on me.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of updating the alt modes on a lot of the original characters, just to. It would be nice. I mean, I think isn't someone doing a Bumblebee where it's a modern Volkswagen Beetle?
Yeah, but I mean, I can't remember.
Chariots of the Gods. Those Chariots of the Gods people also.
Yeah. Let's say, but yeah, that would be something I'd be really interested in. Just to keep it fresh. Our friend Antoine has a quick question for you regarding Spartan. At any point, did you want to put wheels or moving treads on that design?
Not that one. I mean, I look at anytime I have to do a tank, I look at it and see, like the first, can it have moving treads? But it's surprising how much space that takes up. For example, Carnifex.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That has moving treads. Originally, that didn't. And that one was quite a fight to get like a working tread going and it not making the leg hugely overly bulky. And I think the sacrifice has come in that you've got, like it does have a working tread, but it's very thin. But there's only so much, you can't pour 2 pints of water into a half pint glass.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was like, it doesn't work, but at the same time, it's like, well, I'm not going to roll him around, and he looks really badass as the tank. So,
yeah, I think the whole working treads thing is, it really does depend on the figure.
Yeah.
But I also think it's one of those situations where no one's going to be too butthurt if they're just static.
Yeah.
It's not like, of course, everybody wants one. I'd like a transformer that can transform itself, but it's not going to stop me sleeping at night. It's like, I think it's kind of like a minor. I mean, it was one of the, was it Fans Toys? One of the headmasters? Was it Hardhead? Did they do that where they had working treads in the legs?
Yeah, those were actually no, it was Make Toys. They've got the hard head that has the rubberized treads, and they work. But he's an H tank, so I mean, that
everything works within its limbs, so it's easy to hide, and they're all exposed as well. It's I mean, that was one of the questions I got on the new Megatron I was doing. Can it have working treads? And it was one of the sacrifices for the design to get that clean bot mode, hide everything else inside it. It needed to go in where the treads would be. And so, it just couldn't happen.
Combiner Wars Megatron was another one that had working treads.
Yeah, which is surprising for a mainline toy. Nathan Simmons reminds us that a good example of failure in treads is Susanoo from DNA Designs, where you can't have it all. They're MP scale bludgeon. Now, T-Man, you had a question?
Yes. For unrestables, are there plans to do robots that aren't motorcycles?
Sorry, bud, you got like the line's quite bad. I couldn't hear that.
He asked if there's any plans to do robots that aren't motorcycles for unrustables.
Yeah, the enforcer marshals.
Yeah, those are like the ATV, the armored car designs.
Yeah, they're not actually the like the main law enforcement of the galaxy. They are terrestrial marshaled, reformatted like locals who are given authority to be the law of the planet via the hierarchy. Same kind of plug-in system, but they are a bit like the APC from Aliens, which was one of the like influences for the design.
I was going to ask.
Yeah. There is going to be more. I mean, it's very motorbike centric at the moment, but I mean, I don't think it hurts too much to let some of this information go. Not the next story, but all these stories that are leading up to the next is going to be based on Death Race. So
nice.
It's going to be more like different vehicles for that. So, you know, and that would be a mix of motorbikes and cars and whatnot. It's just, you know, mix it up. But I mean, a lot of the choices we make at the moment are down to size and affordability. We've got to think of like, you know, what are we going to be able to raise the money on? What are we going to be able to afford to make? And what are we going to be able to sell? Yeah. So
then, Mr. Sark, will we get a light cycle?
I'm trying.
That would be.
Yeah, I mean, it's the problem. I would love to. I mean, and again, the light cycles. They put in a lot of. There was a lot of influence from the light cycles in some of the other designs I've done. The Valkyries had a lot of the light cycle influence. There's a bike I haven't announced yet that has a lot of that influence. But it's, I mean, what type are you talking about? Are you talking about the Tron Legacy style with the open back, or are you thinking about the original style with the canopy?
I was kind of thinking of the canopy, and again, it's just because Sark, Cassy Sark. I was figuring there had to be some big Tron.
Yeah, you know, no one ever figured that link out at all. No one that it's taken till now.
Leave it to True Star Screamer.
Yeah.
So, since you're talking about not being, you know, a slave to design, and this was what I was talking about earlier. As I said, I look at your designs a lot. I had to show one of your designs to my daughter, which she is absolutely obsessed with. Will we ever see anything from the hamsters of the universe?
Oh, I meant to ask you about that. Yeah, those are awesome.
Watch this space. I did that as, I mean, it was just as a joke. It was me and my son. We were on a camping trip, and we're just sitting batting ideas about, and we came up with hamsters of the universe together. And it was like we worked out what the ideas would be and how they'd fit together. And I mean, he's such a brilliant inspiration for me. And yeah, I was like, you know, it was like I had work on, you know, I had deadlines due, and I just had to drop everything to get that design done because I was so excited about it. But yeah, it was just because it was a fun thing to do, get it out there. I wasn't thinking, you know, I thought it would be, oh yeah, people find it funny, but people like it, people want it, and yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, they're gonna. We're looking at running some kind of Kickstarter for it. I mean, because that's the best gauge to see how popular something's going to be. And yeah, it looks like it's going to happen. Yes.
It's interesting you mentioned, your son being a big influence. One of the things I love in Transformers is the War for Cybertron video games, and I was really enamored with the development videos. Matt Teeger was I believe he was the creative director for those games. And one of the things that really struck a chord with me was when he was designing the Transformers for the game. His son was kind of like his go-to for making sure that the characters, were recognizable. Do you ever use your son as a resource for that?
All the time. I mean, I am a full-time dad as well. So I mean, because obviously, this is designing toys is my job. So I'm at home. I can do it full time. So I work while he's at school. I go pick him up from school. I come home, bring him home. I'll set him up. We'll either be going out or something, and then when we get back, I get back to work again. But as soon as he comes in and sees whatever I've got on the screen, he's picking it apart, and it's generally it's more guns. Needs more guns. More guns, Daddy. But yeah, no, he comes up with some fantastic ideas. One of the last one. I don't know if you saw the Iron Jungle project I put up on my page. It was the robot horse.
Oh, okay.
No?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there was a part of that was that the pilot, it was just it just rotated within the body. But my son was like, no, that needs to be able to rise out in the horse mode and have guns and be able to kind of shoot. And I'm like, yep. No, you're right. Let's do it. So he's very on the ball with that kind of stuff. It's cool.
These kids come up with some good ideas. I'm surprised.
Very cool. And
I think when you consider the actual domestic Transformers that have come out, they seem to get dumbed down more and more every year. And when I think about the complexity of them when I was a child, and it's not like that didn't faze me at all. But if you had, something was a bit difficult. I mean, Megatron always seemed to be notoriously difficult to transform when I was a kid. But it was sort of like it was still marketed at kids, and I think just in general, people don't appreciate how smart kids are.
No, they don't.
We should be challenging them more, not like making things easy for them.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. That was the thing is, when I was a kid and I had Transformers, the whole idea of problem solving. And I remember wanting to ask an uncle or an aunt or, a grandparent, hey, how do I do this? And it's like, well, it's your toy. You got to figure it out. And, the sense of accomplishment that I got from these toys has led to a lifelong hobby. And it's one of the in fact, when I get new like masterpiece and third party figures, for the most part, unless it's super fragile feeling, I want to try and figure it out on my own because it's a great feeling.
And I think that's that's one of the marks of a good transforming figure is the not being too complicated, not being simple, but being instinctual. Your hands kind of guide themselves as you transform it. You're not going, I mean, a good example of this one is the Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Optimus Prime. The amount of times I've just given up halfway through trying to transform that thing.
Those arms.
And I'm like, no, I'm done. And I think it was the first one from the first film as well. And you're trying to transform it and the sound thing's going off every 5 seconds.
I am Optimus Prime.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't care anymore. And, it's just done. It goes in a box. Yeah. I'm out the way. I think being instinctual in a transformation is very important. It's not about adding complexity for complexity's sake. I think you just irritate people when that happens.
Yeah, I like when things can only go one way and where it goes makes sense. And even though it's got a lot of steps, it's like, oh, okay, well, this can only go here. And, okay, now it's starting to take shape. and that puzzle aspect is there,
Yeah.
but it's not overwhelming. Joe, you had a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, earlier you had mentioned the Megatron design. Is it more a challenge for you to start from scratch and make your own design? Or is it more of a challenge for you to take something from fiction and say, okay, we're going to turn this into a figure, and then have to do all that engineering to make it?
It's more challenging, but not in a fun way, to have to create, say, something that's cartoon accurate. I mean, especially when it's, sometimes you don't, the client asks for something that's cartoon accurate, but they don't know the source material themselves. So you'll put a part on it that's, I'm working from the Arc Bible. So I've got full turnarounds of the cartoon like design, and I'll put a part on it that's from that, and you send the visuals over for approval, and they go, "What the hell's this part?" I'm like, "What? Look at the pictures. It's there." And that happens a lot. But yeah, it's when I'm doing something for myself, the challenge is always pushing myself not to make it easy. Make it, make it that instinctual transformation. I mean, it was like with Megatron. I could have quite easily just had like things like, there was one point where the feet were actually on the outside of the tank. And I just left it for the day. I come away, just have a think about it. Another eureka moment. No, I know how they can fit, how it can transform. Went back. Now that everything's like nice and neat inside the tank, and you just got to keep pushing. That's the challenge when it's my own stuff.
And have you ever had or started a project and you sat down and you're looking at a sketch from the cartoon or whatever the source material is, if it's from a comic, and just looked at it and said, how the hell am I going to turn this into a toy?
Yeah.
What were they thinking when they put this on paper?
I've done a movie toy, a masterpiece level movie toy. And that was, I just had no idea going in. It was like, work's work, but wow, that one was, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say, to be honest, because it hasn't been announced yet, but it's, it's one of those characters that look like, it has no vehicle mode stuff on the robot at all. You could look at the robot and say, well, that could just be anything. And that was a challenge. But
I think that's one of the things that Unique Toys has kind of done. That's really kind of reinvented the wheel with the masterpiece scale Transformers, so to speak, where you have characters like Parakill. When you look at that robot mode, it's like, well, wait a minute, how does that turn into a Lamborghini? And then the new Challenger. It's, when I first saw that Age of Extinction design, I was like, oh, that's so stupid. There's no way they could ever make that into a toy. And yet it's so fascinating that designers are able to work around this and create. And I think that, I'm not a fan of the Bay films, but I love the toys because they turn Transformers on their head.
Yeah. It's, a lot of the time, they definitely jumped the shark with, what was the one with Galvatron in it?
Oh, that was Age of Extinction.
Age of Extinction.
Yeah. And they just, they didn't even transform at that point. They just morphed.
Yeah. Like
that. I mean, that's lazy right there and there.
It is. Transformium.
I mean, at least with the first couple of films, you can see that there must have been toy designers helping with the overall design.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times those that like the toy did, although they were very complex for such small figures, they did come very close to what was on screen. But as it goes on, as the films go on, there's just some that like just how the hell is that supposed to turn into that? It's just I don't know. But I mean, that was it. Peru Killer. Was it called?
Yeah, Farouk Hill.
Yeah, I mean that was the game changer. That really was like, no, that was, I mean, whoever, I don't know who designed that one, but my hat is well and truly off for that guy, because that thing was amazing.
Yeah, like
in the first Bay movie had a rule that Transformers couldn't morph. They had the parts
no map
go
shifting
somewhere. But then I went out the window with them.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of mass shifting either. That's one of my. I mean, I can understand, at the time things like Soundwave and Megatron, and are we transformed into a tiny little gun or a tiny little Walkman? But I mean, I like the history more, that they were all taken from different, like from Diaclone and things like that, and kind of shoehorned in to make one line. And I really love the history behind it. But again, it's sort of like it's been over 30 years now. We need to move on.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes down to the need for new fiction. I know a lot of people hate on Beast Wars. I love Beast Wars. I'm a huge Beast Wars fan, and to finally have like something like Dinobot, which still that has compromises, but to have the best possible representation of that figure for both modes is great. But I like Dinobot for the fact, I like Beast Wars for the fact that it took the concept of Transformers and flipped it on its head. And I really feel like that's something that they need to do again. They just need to figure out how to do it. And I'd love to see them think outside of the box, because eventually, retelling G1 6 Ways from Sunday is going to get old, and they're going to need a new concept.
Yeah. I mean, what was the two real most impactful shows for me were Beast Wars and Animated, because they delivered character and story at a level that hadn't been part of Transformers before. I love Transformers, but those original cartoons I don't think hold up. There's no, it's, you can't, I mean, story-wise, it was just about trying to sell toys.
People remember the 86 movie, but not the series.
The 86 movie, still love, but the actual TV series, I couldn't sit through it now. It's too painful. But Beast Wars, the character development in it was fantastic. The whole thing with Dinobot going over from the bad guys to the good guys. I mean, it was just layered and complex, and with fantastic characters. And I think what helped it was the fact that it was small teams rather than a never-ending spread of characters. I mean, it's fine if you're like The Simpsons and you're doing it continuously over 30 years, but when you're kind of just you're bashing out hundreds and hundreds of characters just to fill the toy shelves, I just don't. It's difficult to make a TV show from that, especially something that can stand up.
Animated was something else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of people didn't like the style of Animated, but it's as a show of story development and character development, it was fantastic. I mean, one of my two all-time favorite characters is Optimus Primal and Bulkhead. But I mean, Optimus Primal, because I mean, I've got this guy on my desk here. This is my favorite Transformer of all time.
Love that figure.
But Bulkhead, the idea that he's a genius, but only in one area of his life. He can everywhere, everyone thinks he's, just assumes he's dumb. He's big, he's lumbering, he's clumsy, but in just one small area of his life, he is really clever. And I kind of relate to that a bit. But I think they need to go that way again. I mean, I didn't watch the one of the most, was it RID, the most recent show?
Yeah.
Not missing much.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I liked some of the designs they had for some of the characters, but I think the toys they suffered from their, just far too overly simple.
Mhm.
I like the fact that they had a female character that wasn't a sleek Barbie motorbike. You know,
Yeah, strong arm.
yeah, strong. I mean, that was what kind of got. I still haven't watched the show, but it's sort of like that got my interest in it.
I saw you did an interpretation of her.
Yeah, that was from my super reinterpreted Dreads mold. But yeah, I think there'd be room for her on somebody's shelf. But it's just nice that they are kind of that. You can see they were trying to develop something there, but obviously it just didn't hit the mark.
Yeah. I mean, I have an I like it's funny. Like I like to toy with like ideas like what I'd like to see next with Transformers, and like the idea I have is like so silly, but I think it would work. Like I think what we like with Transformers is like you look back and it's like people love Soundwave and Blaster and Perceptor. I would personally love it if they did one where it's like you take the concept of Toy Story and the whole robots in disguise, because humans are actually I hope somebody's listening to steal this idea, where humans are actually a threat to the Transformers, and it's kind of like you take some core concepts from Toy Story and others from Pikmin, and they're everyday objects, a sound bar, a laptop, a keyboard, a mouse,
Yeah.
And,
actually, that was as quite close to my pitch for the backstory for the Hamsters of the Universe.
Awesome.
Yeah, because the idea I want with that, I wanted it to be that it's they're having you. It's like more like actually like Lego Movie. So the characters having these adventures. If you imagine if it was a cartoon, the characters having these adventures, and the end credits would be a couple of kids playing with their hamsters. So they haven't actually got full toys of these things. They've got a hamster ball, and they've, like in the scenes in Toy Story where they've, he's built a castle for evil Dr. Porkchop, but it's just out of stuff. And it would be that kind of thing. So it's sort of like, you'd watch the whole show, there'd be an adventure, you'd think that was great. And then over the end credits, you just see these kids playing, and it's like, oh, it was the kids playing all along. Hey. Yeah, that was my premise for the hamsters. So yeah, if that comes up, I wasn't stealing your idea. That's all I'm saying.
No. Like, there's no way I could ever bring any of this stuff to life. And it's just like I would just like to see it so I could get the toys and introduce it to a new generation. Like, hey, you want to watch this? This is neat. One
of the most interesting lines from the movie figures was I think it was from the first movie, where it was just the
Real Gear?
Yeah. I mean, that was just like a really nice little idea that they had, and you could easily like run a show from those kind of items. And actually bring back the premise of robots in disguise. They're hiding in a house for a reason.
Well, yeah, and to steal resources from the humans. I actually have a figure. It was a Chinese company did it. I can't pronounce the name, but it's the Soundwave that turns into a tablet, and there's an Optimus Prime that turns into a working power bank, and they're officially licensed. And I was like, man, I would love to see them run with this idea.
Yeah, I did a design for one of those official ones, but it got nixed in favor of the Optimus pen.
Oh.
It was a tape dispenser. It was a pen caddy, and the idea was that the gun would like kind of pegged in the back, and you could stick your pen in it, but it would hold a small reel of sellotape. But it was also retooled into being a Megatron as well, so you could have one of each. I don't know if anybody needs that much tape.
I don't know. I love the idea because I can have Transformers hiding in plain sight on my office desk.
Yeah, and I think the idea was good. But again, I think they must have went with the pen idea just because it was a smaller, easier to produce figure. So, but it's I got paid for my work, not complaining.
So is that kind of like like a life goal to have an official product under your belt, or would you say you're happier working when in third party and having that kind of creative freedom?
I want more of my own stuff more than anything else. I want to, I can't actually express how much work it is trying to get your get your own product out there.
Oh, yeah.
But hopefully in a few years when we've got a few more figures under the belt and we've got it so it's snowballing, it's rolling properly. That will be fantastic. That's what I'm looking forward to. But I don't know if I could actually work for Hasbro. Just nothing against them, but because they've managed to carry this brand for so long, and it's still kept me interested after all these years. But you can see where on any figure you can look at it and go, I can see what the original designer had in mind with this. What went wrong?
Right.
And and you can tell where they've had to make kind of cost cutting, and it's like that to actually have to go through that on a daily basis. That you can tell they pour their heart and soul into these designs, and you can like turn it off. Of course, you can say it's just a job. But it's got to be a point where it's like, no, that was such a good design. Why is it's all the soul's just been stripped out of it? And yeah, so yeah, I don't think I could work.
I was just thinking about that earlier.
Yeah.
They'd actually, if I worked for Hasbro, they'd want me to be able to hand draw, what I'd want to do, and I can't hold a pencil, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say with third party, it's kind of like the opposite, where when you have compromise, that cuts into your sales. Whereas for Hasbro proper, they're looking for the compromise in order to keep the cost down and have more sales. So it's definitely an interesting catch-22 there. Now, T, I guess go ahead.
There's been a definite kind of strange balance between it, because when third parties first started, you had some there was a few fly-by-nights who were knocking out stuff that you'd say it wasn't a third party figure, that it was just it looked the quality was of a cheap KO. It was hollow, thin plastic, felt like it was made out of washing up liquid bottles. And then these days, it's definitely been a definite choice. Hasbro have gone, well, these suckers are paying top dollar for second-rate crap. We should do that. And, so now all your leader class figures have got massive big gaps in the legs, and, everything's just one-sided and hollow. And, it's a shame, but and every time they bring out a new line, I get really excited that it's that's a really nice concept for that figure, and I get it in hand and I'm thoroughly disappointed.
There are some that surprise me, but I understand. Yeah,
it's like some really the best ones. What I found is strange is recently, the last time I thought Transformers put out just consistently good stuff was around the Reveal the Shield line. And a lot of their Chug stuff was just really good quality, even depending what size it might not have been cartoon accurate or comic book accurate, but it was just, they were really good quality transformations, instinctual, solid figures. And they just, over the years, they've got more and more simple, hollow, and it was back then it was things like Legends figures were cheap get it out figures. Now these days it seems like the smaller figures are the better quality ones.
Yeah, and the creative stuff like Battle Trap,
the Pretender little guys. They are. I had to just jump on the full set of these. I haven't collected in quite a while, but these are so much fun. Even though they're pretty much static and they're just brilliant.
Since you don't draw
Mayhem Mechanics battle suits.
Yes, definitely. Go ahead, Dave.
I said soon for the Mayhem mechanics. Little mini exosuits for the prospects. I was just saying, since you like those pretender shells.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with those is there was no, as it wasn't thought out in the beginning. It's a great idea, but as it wasn't thought out in the beginning, there's not really many peg holes on the actual figure to actually plug in an exosuit. And especially to make it, kind of, because I mean, yeah, it's a nice solid little figure, but I think if you put any actual weight on it, it wouldn't hold up.
Oh yeah, no.
But the nice, I mean, I don't know if this has actually been announced yet, but there's going to be a later release to go with the Yamazuki. That is how you make the Yamazuki General, and so take the principle of the bastards, the bikes, and you got the rider. Obviously, the Yamazuki are completely different. Is the fact that they're like hardwired into their bike that transforms, and then the bikes can ride each other a lot like the Junkions. But there's going to be a bike that they can ride that becomes armor, like a power suit.
I'm gonna have to buy at least 3 then.
Yeah, no, I think everybody needs at least 10. Put my kid through college. Yeah, so that will be coming at some point. At the moment, it's we're pretty much ready to go on the launch of the Yamazukis. But the armor's still in development, so I'm going to be able to show that for a little while until I'm 100% happy with it. But it will be done in all of the colorways that we will be. There's going to be 4 colorways released, so it will be available in all 4. So yeah, that's going to add a fun element to the figure.
How soon for the next ones do you think? TFCon soon, or is that too fast?
We've got everything ready to launch the next crowdsourcing.
Okay.
I don't know. We're just waiting. I think we're just waiting on some numbers from the factory so we know how much we need to raise. And hope, if everything goes well, we'll get it out there. The good thing is we are well ahead of the game on this one. It's the length of time to get it out is going to be nowhere near as long as the Unrustables, because the Unrustables was such a learning curve. It was, there was just so much that we just didn't think of going in. So there was, it was like redesigns pretty much on a weekly basis, and we got there, but taking everything we knew from that, we created the Yamazuki in mind, and it's we've got the prototypes in Sid Shop, Comic Connections, everybody in Banbury, go there. And I popped in and had a look at them the other day, and they have come out really nice because they are slightly a smaller figure as well. I mean, the whole point of the Yamazuki is it's more of a numbers game with them. So if you get there'll be a gang of Unrustables, there'll be pretty much an army at any one time coming to attack them with Yamazuki. So they're very they look like they're going to be very fun figures. So that's
awesome.
That's cool. And we're going to all the sticker sheets will be fully kind of customizable as well for each colorway. So there'll be options. So you can say if you bought a minimum of 2 figures because you're going to want to ride them, you can put your stickers on slightly differently, so they do look like they've been tagged up as part of the same gang, but they do look like different characters.
I like that,
and I think that's important.
Yeah,
that was one of my favorite things with the prospects, being able to the different little chest shields and the head pieces, basically be able to make them modular. So to give that create a character, and mine is different than Zero's. I know for a fact, you know.
Yeah,
He
it
does
is. Because I don't have a Tomo. I know
You
you're going to
still
rub
have-
that.
You still have one of these guys, and I'm just saying.
I do. I
bought the triple pack, so.
Yeah, I know. Rub it in. Rub it in. I do want to get into Tomo. Eventually, I'll find one at a con.
Yeah.
So
So do you do con appearances or get out to any of those?
I turn up. No, I mean, I've not been asked to actually like be a guest or anything. The problem is, I mean, I did BotCon when it was at Dallas. I can't remember. Was that 2012? I don't know. 2010?
Do you go as just a fan ever?
Yeah, that's all I do. That's all if I ever go it's as a fan. I don't go to kind of like pitch my wares or anything. It's just to kind of go and hang. To be honest, it's just hang out with friends. Everybody, you know, you get to that point in your life where everybody's just so busy. It's difficult to get, so, should we hang out? It's like, no, I've got to stay in and cook fish sticks. And that's, you have to end up kind of literally going around to your friends and dragging them out to actually get anything. And at the UK Transformers convention, which is called TF Nation, and I'd like to give a shout out for those guys because they do run an awesome show. But for me, it's a little beside the point. It's more for the fact that I know my friends are going to be there, and it's the perfect excuse for us to hang out. Because it's got to the point we kind of only see each other once a year.
And what better way to see folks than around bots and beers?
Yeah, I mean, we had Stan Bush playing this year as well.
I saw the footage
and
of that.
That was a lot of fun. That was crazy.
Yeah.
So no, it's been good. I think next year might be the first year I'm going to have to miss. But it's it's good.
Very cool. Very cool. Matt, did you have a question too?
No, I've just been following along.
There we go. There we go. Anybody else in the chat? Any more questions for Cassie?
Well, I saw a good one, and it may apply to me as well. So someone who is looking to get into the Unrustables, what would you think is the best place for them to start, the best figure for them to start collecting?
Pick up a prospect just to see if you like it. You know, as it's the cheapest figure. And then, obviously the good lead on from that is like, yes, well, it turns into a chess piece. I really need a figure for this now. But I mean, whatever one you can pick up, to be honest. I mean, if it's just like your first one to get, it's just any of them at the moment. Just so you can play with it, see if you like it, and then buy more because I'm sure you will like it.
I was going to ask if they're still available anywhere, but I see them on the website still, the Mayhem Mechanics website.
Yeah, I think, we didn't completely sell out. I think there's a few retailers are discounting them now, which is, it's only fair. It's they've had them for quite a while now. But it's it's a quality figure. What you pay, it's good. I mean, one of the we still get people complaining that they're too expensive. But this isn't like it's not a $12 chug figure.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of. I would say it's closer to masterpiece level engineering than a chug figure. So you are getting what you pay for. We're not trying to we haven't massively overcharged you and we've all run off to the Bahamas. It's
plus the density of that plastic. It's one of the most durable figures you can get.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the quality, how the, like, I mean, because that is one. I mean, because I don't have any. I consider myself more of a digital sculptor. I'll kind of do the overall style and I'll work the transformation, but I don't set up for tooling or anything like that. I get it kind of so it's like 85% done. And then it goes to the factory, and then the factory engineer will make sure that that sucker works. I mean, there has been times where people have bought my designs and they haven't used that engineer. So they've just got something that doesn't work. But, you know, and, you know, you actually get comp copies and you go, what have you done? But, you know, if they'd actually even asked me at the time of sending it, but no, they just rushed right ahead and manufactured.
Very cool. And we got a fun question here. My Geek Life wants to know, in your opinion, what is the best Transformers game?
Game? Oh, I don't know. I'm not a gamer at all, unfortunately. I will say War for Cybertron because I just loved the art style, and I got the art book from it, and it's just a joy to look at. I would watch my friends play the game, but I can't. I'm not a gamer. I don't. My hand-eye coordination just doesn't work with it. So, yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. Well, I'd say it's getting close to 4 a.m. your time.
Wow. Yes, I've got an hour before I've got to go to the gym. Brilliant.
Oh, jeez. Well, I have to say it's been an absolute treat having you on with us tonight. For folks that are listening, where can they find you online?
Right, so it's just the Cassy Sark page on Facebook, or the Dillinger or the Warner page on Facebook. They all link together. And I've just set up an Instagram account, but I don't know how it works.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? If you have,
I'm not that tech savvy, unfortunately.
We did have one very last minute question from MacMan. And I do want to ask you this one. What do you think about Transformers that don't transform?
Oh, okay. It depends. Now, something like the Flame Toys Tarn, I don't mind that doesn't transform because it just looks stunning. You know, it was just the angular sculpt on it. It's not 100% as the comic. You know, it's kind of like it's definitely stylized, and it just it looks beautiful, but. On the other hand, I look at it and say, why doesn't that transform? That looks like it could transform. It's big enough that there's enough space that it could transform. Why doesn't it transform? And then you've got the other end of the spectrum with things like the Hot Toys Optimus Prime, the G1 figure. Yeah?
Yeah.
And it's like, why buy that? Why not just buy MP10? Why not buy MP1? If you want a big Optimus Prime, buy MP1. Why buy the Hot Toys Optimus Prime? It just looks like Optimus Prime, and it doesn't transform. There's no reason why an Optimus Prime shouldn't transform.
I don't like the way that one looks.
Yeah, I mean, for like a model kit or for something that's kind of evokes the spirit of a Chogokin figure. Yeah. I mean, I can kind of understand it, but then when I get something like from Perfect Effect, their Leonidas or their Guerrera, and I'm like, I can't wait to get that Mega Dragon in hand.
Yeah.
I had the same feeling. It's like, well, why doesn't it transform? I do have the Mega. I love the Mega Action series, but I mean, they have one thing: it's to be big and to be posable and to be posable display pieces that light up. And for me, I love the engineering. It's that puzzle box thing, the thing that takes me home and reminds me of like why I love Transformers to begin with. Is that matter? Why not just collect a robot?
That's the same for me. It's the the actual transformation is more important to me than the character. I think it's the that kind of hand playability element, and I think if you take that away, you are taking away 90% of what the figure is supposed to be. And yeah, there was so many people I knew who bought that Hot Toys Optimus Prime as well, and why are you buying that? I mean, it was the fact that there was so many KOs of MP10 going round at the time, like quality KOs, and they could have got for a fraction of the price. Yeah. And I collect Hot Toys figures as well. Well, I did until I was priced out of the market, but it's that was one of those ones that I just didn't understand. It's obviously Transformers has a non-transforming element because they have Pretenders and Action Masters. And you might have seen the Action Masters, the Pretenders that I designed as 1:6 scale figures.
Yes.
And I'm hoping, I've been pitching it quite heavily. Hopefully they might be fingers crossed they'll get picked up.
Cool.
But the idea, I'm trying to work out a a strategy plan for release, maybe do them in teams. So, you'll get like 3 figures, released in a certain period of time. So perhaps do, Bludgeon, Octopunch, and Stranglehold first.
Me and Octopunch.
And, it was like thinking about what, because the trouble is it's difficult to get, an optional repaint for these, because you've got to with any toy. I mean, I know people can complain about like repaint sometimes, but you at least have to do one just to make the tool worth the money. So what could we retool out of Bludgeon? And it's like, well, how about Banzaitron? Because he was an Action Master. Why not do Banzaitron out of the Bludgeon mold and then make his little Action Master partner be the character that fits inside him?
My good buddy Adrian is always barking up the tree. Why doesn't someone do Bludgeon as a Skeletor homage?
Yeah. What didn't somebody did that, didn't they? I'm sure I've seen a third party do that. I could be wrong though.
Was it one of the add-on kits?
It was the BotCon Overlord using the Bludgeon mold.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And they used the yellow head, and I love He-Man, so yeah, that would be cool. I mean, it's an obvious one as well.
3 days, we'll see it on his Facebook page.
I would be very, very happy to see that. So, we'll hold you up.
I'm trying to steer clear of He-Man because of my Hamsters the Universe infringement.
Ah.
I imagine the name and the logo is going to have to change for that at least, because that's a bit too close. But we'll see how we go.
Very, very cool. Well, we won't hold you up too terribly long, since you got to be at the gym in an hour and 10. As far as your Instagram, did you have an Instagram name that you could share with us for that?
No, I don't know what it is. If you just look up Cassy Sark on Instagram, I'm sure you'll find it.
Right on.
But I can't remember what the name is. I am so clueless when it comes to tech. It's untrue. And I had my wife saying, "Oh, you got to get more out there on social media. You got to be pitching your stuff more." And it was like, I don't know how it works. So yeah, but if follow me if you can find me. That's all I can say.
We'll be
Actually,
glad.
I'll put the link up on my Cassy Sark page if anybody does want to follow me. But to be honest, if you're on Facebook, you're going to see all the stuff on there anyway. It will be the same stuff.
Cool.
Right on. All right. Well, yeah, we really appreciate having you on. It's been a treat interviewing you tonight and having the conversation. Let's go down the panel real quick. True Starscreamer, where can folks find you at?
Of course, you can find me on Instagram at True Starscreamer, and that's with a TRU. On the PlayStation Network, True Star Screamer. My Twitter, I've been really neglecting. And of course, here every week at 9 Eastern Time. And finally, on the Facebook groups, at David Lutwack, the one and only.
Very cool. Matt Partsform, where can people find you at?
You can find me at Partsformer at all the different social things, including Xbox whenever I'm on there. The Twitter, Instagram, which I've been a little more active lately because I've been getting to figure it out. And right here, Friday nights at 9.
Very cool. Mr. Joe Crab, how about you?
You can find me on Instagram, JoeFigure83, and on Facebook, Joe Crab.
Very cool. Now, everybody should know where to find T-Man978, but just in case you don't.
Well, if you Google T-Man978, you'll find out
that's
that
complicated. We're not all technical.
you'll find out that I'm everywhere in the
We
world.
don't have to pay for Google, man. Come on.
Yes. Well, I'm everywhere, especially YouTube.
Very cool.
Where you can click the video.
Click the
Yes.
videos. Check out that the Black Mamba Starscream review. It was very good. Really enjoyed seeing that. As for me,
And this Starscream review, too.
oh, that Starscream review too. It's a twofer. So, I force you to do Octopunch October.
I
Anyway,
got Star first.
Screams all the time.
As for me, you can find me here every Friday night. You can find me on Twitter at The Original Zero. You can find me on the Facebook groups as James Jordan. And, of course, you can find me on PlayStation Network and Xbox Live as Extra Zero. There's a space on the Xbox one. I will be playing some Red Dead Redemption 2 in the coming weeks. So for anybody getting that, be sure to add me on Xbox. I'd love to play with you. Anyway, Cassie, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on tonight.
Yes, thank
you.
you
So much for joining us.
Thank
And, it's been a blast doing the show with my panel, the cast and crew. We are Figure Action, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great weekend.
See you, everybody.
Peace.
Peace.